Miner's Eliza, and for the past 5 years, my husband's family has called me a gold digger behind my back. I never corrected them when they assumed I married Thomas for his money. So when they demanded I sign a postnup on our 5th anniversary to protect their assets, I signed it without even reading. They were so thrilled they threw a celebration dinner. But just as they were about to toast to their victory, my lawyer walked in. You see, they thought we were playing checkers, but I was playing chess all along. They saw a pawn and never thought to check if there was a queen hiding behind it. Watching to see how the protection they demanded for their little kingdom ended up costing them an entire empire. For 5 years, I've been the subject of a quiet, relentless character study conducted by my husband's family, the Harringtons. The subject of this study, the gold digger. And the primary conclusion, whispered over brandy and murmured across country club tables, is that I am a textbook specimen. They believe I hit the jackpot with their son Thomas, and that I've just been waiting for the right moment to cash in my ticket. I have never once corrected them. I let them believe I was a girl from a modest background, a scholarship student with good manners and nothing else to my name. It was a social experiment of sorts. I had fallen for Thomas, for his kindness, his quiet humor, and his complete indifference to my real family name, Devereaux, a name that, in certain circles, carries more weight than gold. I wanted to see if his family could ever see me, the actual person, or if they would forever be blinded by their own assumptions. The Harringtons are well known, for sure. Their patriarch, Harrison, built a respectable fortune in commercial logistics. His wife, Margaret, has spent decades trying to launder that fortune into impenetrable social status. They live in a constant state of anxiety, terrified that someone will expose them as the newcomers they are. My very existence, my perceived lack of pedigree, was a constant threat to their fragile dynasty. Margaret, a woman who communicates mostly through backhanded compliments, was the chief prosecutor in the case against me. "You're adjusting so wonderfully to all of this, dear," she would say, gesturing vaguely at their opulent home. "It must be quite a change for you." Harrison was more direct, viewing me as a risk analyst would. He'd joke at family dinners. "Well, Thomas, she's certainly a better investment than that tech stock you told me about last year." Their whispers followed me down every hallway. They saw my contentment not as genuine happiness, but as the cunning satisfaction of a predator who had trapped her prey. They sought my love for their son as a long con, an act so masterful it deserved a grudging, resentful respect. Thomas was caught in the middle. Who loved me? I never doubted that. But he was a product of his upbringing, a man conditioned to seek his parents' approval. He would defend me in his own quiet way, but he never truly confronted them, never forced them to account for their cruelty. He treated their whispers like a bad smell in the room, unpleasant, but something you eventually learn to ignore. I never wanted to put him in the position of choosing between me and them. "Sir." I stayed silent. I smiled through the condescending comments. I accepted the thoughtful but pointedly inexpensive Christmas gifts, and I played the part they had assigned me. The catalyst for their final act of self-sabotage was, as it always is with them, a date on the calendar. Thomas's 30th birthday was approaching, and with it, his ascension. On that day, he would gain full, unfettered control of the $10 million trust his grandfather had established for him. The thought of me, the gold digger, having even a theoretical claim on that money sent the Harringtons into a sheer panic. The intervention happened on a Sunday afternoon. They summoned us to their study, a room that always felt like a courtroom. Margaret twisted her pearls. "Thomas, darling," she said, "with your birthday coming up, your father and I feel this is a matter of prudent family planning. A formality, really, to protect the assets that have been in this family for generations." Harrison cleared his throat. "It's called a postnuptial agreement. It simply clarifies that what is yours remains yours, and what is, well, what is Eliza's remains hers." It protects everyone involved. It protects the family legacy. They were proposing a contract to be signed 5 years into our marriage, a document born not of love, but of deep-seated suspicion and fear. I looked at Thomas. His face was a mask of pained conflict. He wouldn't meet my eyes. He was trapped, and they knew it. All eyes turned to me, expecting tears, arguments, a desperate plea. I gave them a calm, serene smile. "Of course," I said, my voice even. "I think that's a very sensible idea. Whatever makes you all feel secure." The shock in the room was palpable. They had expected a fight. My immediate, cheerful agreement was not part of their script. It threw them off, but only for a moment. Their expressions quickly shifted from surprise to smug satisfaction. They had won. The simple, money-hungry girl was so terrified of losing her meal ticket that she would sign anything to stay in their good graces. "We'll have our lawyers draft the documents," Harrison said, a triumphant gleam in his eye. "We can all sign them at a celebratory dinner next week to celebrate prudence." What they didn't know was that I had already had a very long, very detailed conversation with my own lawyer, a quiet, methodical man named Mr. Finch. He had managed the Devereux Family Trust since before I was born, and he was very, very good at his job.